somebody to tell me. Answer if you can. Well, I want somebody to tell me just what about the soul of a man. I reads the Bible often, I tries to read it right. Was anybody here to please tell me that a man ain't nothing but his mind? And now I want somebody to tell me. Answer if you can. Well, I want somebody to tell me just what about the soul of a man. My name is Del Toulouse, and today we're going to be discussing Blind Willie Johnson's Soul of a Man Blues. This is the second part of a two-part series lesson. The first being John Revelator, and this is the second part. And I welcome you to this portion. Today we're going to be discussing all of the licks, tunings, and intricacies that are associated with this song. Now, if you've successfully completed and watched the first part of this two-part DVD lesson, John the Revelator, you will find that most of the things that were covered in that prior lesson are looked at upon again. They reappear in Soul of a Man. The same concepts, the same licks, and same ideas reappear. There's only a difference of several things. But again, he's utilizing the same finger-picking techniques and methods with the right hand, and the picking arrangements with the emphasis being on the third and fourth strings on the first and third fret. The same concepts are being reused again. So if you've found this DVD and are starting to watch it, I recommend to you that you first watch John the Revelator lesson. Learn that as much as possible, and this lesson here, Soul of a Man, will come to you a lot easier because he reiterates the same ideas and concepts in John the Revelator. So that's what I recommend. So we're continuing on, and before every lesson I always have to speak about accessories and things that you need to engage this material. So again, for the purpose of this particular song, any guitar it will do, even an old dinky one. You know, when you listen to the LP, Blind Willie Johnson's not playing a really heavy-duty guitar. He's playing an old shabby one, so you know, the shabbier guitar, probably the more authentic sound that you'll get. But again, what I'm reiterating here is guitar is basic, and the use of plastic finger picks. I use a thumb and index plastic finger picks to use the guitar. It's, for me, very comfortable, especially a thumb pick. When you play with your fingers, you don't reach that crisp, the strikes with the bass. You don't get the same component when you just strike it with your bare thumb. So we've got our finger picks and our guitar ready, and we'll be utilizing the same methods and techniques described in John the Revelator as far as right hand position and the finger picking arrangements and chord strums that were discussed in John the Revelator will reappear again in this melody. So before we begin, this is yet another song that's done in the open D tuning, except in the LP he's playing it two steps up, so he'd be playing in open E tuning. So if you were to follow along with the LP, you would tune your guitar to open D tuning and put a capo on the second fret. Now, for the purpose of our learning, we're going to play in open D tuning, because if we were to tune up to what Blind Willie Johnson is playing, we'd have to tighten up our strings, tune up the machine heads two steps up, and that would create a lot of tension with the guitar, which is unnecessary for learning purposes. So I thought, as a measure of precaution, that we tune to open D, and I'm tuned to open D right now. I've used the tuner, And what I would like for you to do right now is take your guitar and tune together with me. So starting with the first and top string, I'm tuned. The first and top string is a D. My fifth string is an A. My fourth string is a D. My third string is an F sharp. My second string is an A. And my bottom string is a D. All together. So we're tuned together. Okay, so right now I want to discuss about right hand techniques. I've got my right hand draped across the guitar like this, almost doing it like you're doing a shadow puppet. My arm runs diagonally, and I have the palm of my hand, the outer lining of the palm of my hand is just nestling above the 6th and 5th strings, somewhere in between there. Okay, and the thumb is free, so the thumb will provide the bass accompaniment. It will be striking either the top or the 5th string or the 4th string. The thumb is going to be free here to pulsate, and your index finger is going to be playing most of the melodic licks, which are going to be found on the 1st and 3rd fret with the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string. So watch my index finger. Your index finger is going to be plucking or picking out those individual notes, and you're going to be, most of your picking is going to be pinching together. You're pinching together. That's a method that I like to use, but another method with the right hand is just strumming up and down with the thumb, if that's how you feel. However you feel comfortable, because ultimately in both of these songs, John the Revelator and Soul of a Man, all he's doing is just pinpointing the 3rd string and playing these lush chords. The thing about Blind Willie Johnson, he plays that kind of revving up of the guitar. If you notice, if you listen to this LP, I noticed that much of his material has kind of got this revving up. Now you can play that in either way. We'll talk more about the right hand technique as we go and discuss further on into the song itself. So now that we're tuned together, I've discussed the right hand techniques, we've got our finger picks, the nature of the guitar doesn't matter. I think now is a good time to transition into the introduction, which is very brief, just like John the Revelator, and we'll break down this main pre-verse and ref. So let's take a little break here and start the introduction. Alright, so picking off from where we last left off, we're going to talk about the introduction here, which is very straightforward and simple. So ultimately there's going to be a series of 14 notes. There's going to be, the first part's going to be 7 notes, and then you're going to repeat it again. And the introduction predominantly consists of just up and down strums and chords. And they're very simple, and again it's very similar to the introduction of John the Revelator. So what you will be playing here will sound like this. Right? And I'll play that and lead into the main riff. Well, what's John writing? John the Revelator. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm playing Soul of a Man here, so. Well, I want somebody to tell me. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on the introduction here. And what you're going to be doing here is you're going to be playing a series of 7 notes. 7 chords or 7 notes here. Either way you want to look at it. And the first 4 notes are going to kick off the introduction like this. You're just going to play 4 strums. However you want to play that is up to you. You can play it like this, or you could play it just with the index finger, like whichever way you feel more comfortable. Okay, I tend to strum it with my index finger because it leads you up to playing these individual notes that make up the riff. The transition is that much easier. So, speaking about the chords here, again, he's going to be playing open strums, and then he's going to introduce that one chord that we talked about in John the Revelator, where he's going to be identifying the 3rd string, 1st fret. And he's just going to be playing that. That's going to incorporate itself here a few times in the introduction. Again, very straightforward and simple, and the tablature is played out for you. So this first component in the introduction is going to resolve itself in a series of 4 strums. The first 2 strums will be open. It'll be like this. 1, 2, and then the 3rd chord is going to be this fingering on the 1st fret, 3rd string. And then the 4th fret's going to be open. And altogether it'll be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice what I'm doing. I'm just doing this with my right hand. Is 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever way you want to do it. However you feel comfortable with the right hand is entirely up to you. Now the great thing about these 2 songs here is that the right hand technique is not really emphasized. It's however you feel comfortable with engaging the material. So this first 4 notes go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he's going to cap it off with 3 resolving chords to mark that first phrase. So the first phrase is 7 chords. So the next 3 chords are going to be like this. Open, chord again, and open. So in combination there's 7 chords. The first 4 go like this. And there goes the other 3. So there's 7 notes. So again, I'll go slow, starting from the beginning. The first 4 chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he plays that phrase again. So he plays it twice in the introduction. So faster, it will go like this. The first 7 notes. And then he plays it again. It will be 14 chords. Learn the first 7 and repeat it exactly the same. So the entire introduction will go like this. So in all, that's 14 chords. Very easy. And the way that Blind Willie Johnson does it is he kind of revs it up. And you can really put a lot of emphasis in the right hand in pushing down on the strings. So again, those are the first 14 notes of the song. It's imperative that you learn the first 7. Very straightforward and simple. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But what you have to develop and what you have to find in the introduction is he says the words well, and then he goes into the lyrics, won't somebody tell me? And the way that it incorporates itself is towards the end of this introduction. I'll play it a little bit, and I'll explain what I mean by saying the word well. It'll be like this. Well, I want somebody to tell me. Well, I want somebody to tell me. The position of the word well is going to end towards the end of the introduction. So there's a series of 14 chords played in the introduction. He says the word well at about the 12th chord. So it'll go like this. From the beginning of the introduction, I'm going to count out all the chords, 14 chords, and I'm going to tell you when to say the word well under which chord strum, which number. It's going to be the 12th time. So here we go. I'll go slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, So the last 3 chords of that 14-part phrase. Well. So it's that part there's 7 notes. You learn the first 4. The last 3, which is when he says the word well. So he goes, well, well, and then he'll go into the lyrics. Won't somebody tell me? So the introduction will round it out like this. I'll play it in regular time. Okay. So again, not entirely that difficult, but it will bridge the presence of the word well will bridge into the main riff of the song, where he's speaking out the lyrics and doing what he's playing on the individual strings is mirroring what he's singing. So the introduction again is very straightforward. 14 parts to it. Learn those first 7. And that should serve you well. So we've got that wrapped up. So now what we're going to look at is the pre-verse of the song, basically the main riff. And this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky and more intricate in the analysis. But again, it's drawing along a lot of parallels to John the Revelator. He's emphasizing again on the 1st and 3rd fret, on the 3rd and 4th strings. The right hand is entirely up to you on how you want to apply those notes. You can do strums, or you can pick out the individual strings with the thumb accompanying you on the bass. And that's something I'll go over as we look at the notes here. So in this part, I'll play it here. It will be the lyrics, won't somebody tell me, and we'll go like this. Won't somebody tell me? Well, I want somebody to tell me. Alright? And it gets a little bit tricky with timing, but again, what you need to do here, and if you follow along with the tablature, is just identify the 3rd string. And the first 4 notes are going to be pretty simple here. The first 4 notes, the first one, you're going to identify the 3rd fret, 3rd string. He's going to say the word won't. Won't. Okay? And then the next note is going to be on the 1st fret, 3rd string. And then the next 2 notes will be open with an emphasis on individual strings being played open. So that 3rd note will just be a 3rd string open. And then the 4th string, the 4th note is just going to be a brief chord over the with an emphasis on the fourth string open. So altogether, these first 4 notes will be like this. I'm going to count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, I played the 4th and 3rd strings at the end there. And when you sing it out together, it will be like this. Won't somebody, won't somebody, won't somebody. Right? And the way that you can play that, you can do with the right hand. I'm going to talk about the right hand here. It will be like this. Won't somebody. Or you can pick them out with the individual strings. Won't somebody, won't somebody. Either way you want to go about that. So we've got that first 4 parts, fairly easy when you kind of do, it's like matching the pieces of the puzzle. Won't goes with this note, somebody goes with that note. So the first 4 notes go like this. Won't somebody, won't somebody. Okay, and then the next 4 notes are gonna be the words tell me, and it will be like this. Tell me, tell me. And what you're gonna do is put emphasis on the 3rd string open, and that's gonna be the word ah. Then the next note, which will be the 6th note, will be on the 1st fret, 3rd string, and you will say the word tell. And then you're going to finish off with the 3rd string open again. So, using the lyrics here, these 3 notes will be like this. Tell me, tell me. And then you end with the 4th string open. So there's 4 notes here, right? 4 notes in this set, and it will be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Open string, 1st fret, 3rd string, open string, 3rd string, and then open on the 4th string. And what I like to emphasize here is that the 4th string open usually finds itself as finishing off little phrases to his lyrics. Okay. So when you put that all together, there's a series of 8 notes in this little phrase here. 8 notes. The first 4 notes go like this. Won't somebody. And then the next 4 notes go like this. Tell me. Now count that out. 8 notes. 1, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are playing the strings individually. Now what you want to do is play the 3rd and 4th strings together to give it that harmonic, chord-like appearance. So the first 8 notes being sung will be like this. Won't somebody tell me? Well, I want somebody tell me. Or with the individual index finger picking out, I was strumming there initially, but with the individual strings will sound like this. Won't somebody tell me? Won't somebody tell me? Okay. Again, fairly straightforward. You want to strike when you're picking out the emphasizing those individual strings to mirror what is being sung. You want to accompany those spoken lyrics with the 4th string. So ultimately with the thumb or the index finger, you're going to be striking the 3rd string, yet striking the 4th string together. Again, I cannot emphasize that enough. That's highly important in both songs, is putting that, striking the chords with heavy emphasis on the 3rd and 4th strings. And that's something that I discussed in John the Revelator extensively. So we figured out the first 8 notes of that phrase, and then he just plays 4 open strums up and down after that. So in this phrase there's 12 notes. We've covered the first 8. So the next 4 are going to be 4 strums up and down. So it'll be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And all together it will sound like this: won't somebody tell me one more? Right? Counting out. I'm going to count it all out. Here, I'm going to count out all 12 steps. So it'll be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then when you put it all together, it'll be like this: won't somebody tell me? And then with downstrokes it will sound like this: won't somebody tell me? And then when you want to play it polished up, it'll be like this: won't somebody tell me? Again, that's more of the finesse application, is, and that's something that will eventually progress for you. But right now we're laying out the basic principles of this material. So in that first 12 notes, we've picked out "won't somebody tell me," which is very easy. And again, he's kind of revisiting what we discussed in John the Revelator. Again, these are 2 songs that are very similar in their arrangement. So let's just play from the introduction and include this first part of the pre-verse so that we could get caught up here. So I'm going to start with the introduction, and I'm going to go pretty slow here, so we'll go like this. Well, I want somebody to tell me. Okay. So we've taken care of that. And now what we're going to discuss here is he's going to do something that is a little bit particular and very unique to Soul of a Man song. He's going to be moving away from the 1st and 3rd frets, which was the only frets being used in John the Revelator, and he's going to go up the neck. This is going to be a little bit challenging, but he's going to be playing notes on the 8th, 6th, and 5th fret. And this is going to be basically a new addition to this particular style of playing. So I've listened to the LP, and I've figured that he's got to be playing on the 8th and 6th fret here. I'm going to play it here shortly, just by hearing the tonality of the original LP. It's a very hard to pinpoint exactly what's the exact way he's doing it, but I'm trying to match by tonality, and my theory is that he's on the 8th and 6th fret here. And this next part of the phrase, which I'm going to play here, is going to sound like this. And he's going to say the words "answer if you can." It'll be like this: answer if you can, answer if you can. Right? Now, a way to play this 8th and 6th fret can also be played an octave lower on the 3rd and 5th fret. enter if you can. Now that's an option for you. You know, the tablature has it